Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Adela Fayon. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing the two brothers who own the company called Vesti. It's an immigration company, but they do so many other things which they will also talk about. But many of you have been anticipating this interview. Myself, I've been looking forward and I'm really happy that it's finally happening. Guys, you're welcome to my show. Thanks for joining me. Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you for having us. My name is Olushola Amuson, and I'm co-founder and CEO here at Vesti. Vesti aims to be the provider of legal and financial services for the next 1 billion immigrants, and we're excited to be here today.
Thank you very much for having us. My name is Abimbola Amusan, co-founder and CEO at Vesti. Excited to be doing the work we do for people, helping them solve the one of the biggest problems immigrants face. That's around tackling the financial hurdles and legal obstacles when they move to a new country, or even when they want to move to a new country.
Thank you so much for introducing yourselves, guys. So, this interview basically, we would be addressing some of the concerns that people had, especially about the recently concluded H1-B visa lottery. If you're watching this interview, please stay tuned because we'll also talk about other means of moving to the US if you're interested in moving to the US. A lot of people have wondered, is the H1-B visa lottery, is it legit? Some people have written me, it's not real. And I believe a lot of people are mixing it with the diversity visa lottery, green card lottery. So I wanted you guys to start with that. And what kind of jobs are people doing, people who emigrate with the visa lottery?
Thank you very much. The H1B visa first started in the year 1990 when it was implemented into law. And the intent of the folks that made that into law was to help companies in the United States attract foreign talent who are able to come to the United States to work in specialty occupations with emphasis on specialty occupations. So they created a certain category of occupations that were regarded as specialty, and they created a minimum requirement being a bachelor's degree. That means you have a bachelor's degree from your own country and you're able to do a specialty occupation here in the United States, then a US company can bring you in. Ever since it started, I'm sure millions of people have come in to work in the United States on the H1B visa. But for the last 3 to 4 years, the system was changed to a lottery system where companies first have to put people in a lottery, and then the ones that are selected in that lottery are the ones the company can go ahead to file for.
Absolutely. Let me just add the fact that this is something that is very common for large companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Cognizant, Tata. These are what you will call big hires. This is the way for them to find talent to fill the growing United States workforce. And many of these companies over the years have had the privilege to bring people, many of them from the United Kingdom, from China, from India, from other parts of the world like Nigeria, to the United States. And, just like you said, many people confuse this for the diversity visa lottery, which is a green card lottery. This is actually a temporary work visa, for people who want to come to the US to work in specialty occupations. And like my co-founder said, it's essentially for those who have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. A lot of people are not aware, beyond just tourist visa, they're not aware that there are several other ways professionals can come legally to the United States to be able to take advantage of this and be part of the US economy.
It sounds like the companies are the ones that are trying to hire people through the lottery. So some people would say, so how is Vesti putting in people? How come it's not the companies?
Yeah, so it's simple. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, okay, let me just take it. So these companies that were mentioned still need the service of immigration firms, immigration offices, and so because I don't think there is a company that has an immigration department. So most people just hire external lawyers and immigration firms to help them get their workers, their foreign workers, into the H1B lottery and eventually file those petitions for them. So Vesti is a financial technology company. We're also an immigration firm. So what that means is that we help bridge the gap that exists in the financial system for people trying to move from a country to the other. and also bridge the information gap that exists in the entire broken immigration space.
How much does it cost to go through Vesti, and how much is the total cost of, or let me say how much was, because it's over now?
Yeah, so overall, like the program for this year, 2024, which interestingly is called the fiscal year 2025 by the
25.
USCIS.
Hmm.
Essentially the amount from the USCIS, as you all know, is $10 to get into the lottery individually, as to enter. That's what the USCIS charges. Essentially, companies that are facilitators, mobile application platforms, enablers in the system, can then decide based on the experience they provide for customers how much they're going to charge for that particular service. This past year, before we even did advertisement or partnership that we did for you to announce this particular session, typically they would do a clarity session, which is part of our overall process. You don't get to start or intake with Vesti without a clarity session. That's our business model, and it's very, very popular in the United States, from doctors' offices to chiropractors to dentists. You actually need to pay for a consulting session to get to know about the process that you're going to be a part of. So we would typically charge $99 for that, and that is typical of EB2 visa, H1-B visa, F1 student visa, and so on and so forth. So after that, then you would pay another $100 for the process of getting into the lottery. Some other law firms, immigration firms, enablers charge as much as $500 for that. We charge $100 for that. Essentially, there has to be an employer that is bringing you to the US. The details of that employer is part of what will be submitted into the lottery. You have two options. You can bring an employer, meaning you have been applying for jobs online, you have been interviewing, and now an employer has hired you. And this employer now wants to bring you to the United States. The second option is for entrepreneurs who essentially can register their own companies, and those companies can eventually be companies that can, if the companies are US companies, can bring them to the United States. This is a system that is not very familiar with people outside the US, because in the US, each company is an entity on its own. So the company is different from you. So the company you created can actually hire you. So like we saw some people within this same calendar year who actually registered their own company for sometimes $500, $800, and then use those companies to file for themselves. The third group of people are people who are qualified by virtue of the fact that they have bachelor's degree, but they don't have affiliation with any companies that can file for them. As an enabler that we are, we basically did connect with partner companies and ask those companies to provide profiles, essentially analyze the details of this person, analyze the resume and profile of this person, and bring this person's profile into the pool. This past year, I think the minimum was $200. The maximum was about $700, $800. And some of these companies had already been charging people and bring them into the pool. Now, when you're done with that, you now have the filing fees. Now you've been selected in the lottery. You now need to come to the United States. You can't do it on your own. Essentially, you need the help of a lawyer to be able to file for it, and put the documents together using your employer profile and submit it to the USCIS. They will do other things like labor certification and all of that. Now that process, because Vesti has been doing this for O1 visas, EB1 visas with our partner attorneys, and both internal and external, essentially cost about $7,000. Now, that $7,000 is what is going to help you to know whether you've been approved by the USCIS. You pay another visa fee back home, essentially depending on the size of your family, because this is a visa that covers not just you, but your family members. There might be other payments like credential evaluation and all of that, which apply to people or may not apply to other people, depending on whether they've done their credential evaluation earlier. There's flight tickets that you will have to pay for. And then when you get to the United States, there will be other costs like accommodation and other costs like that that could be associated that I can't even account for.
I should have let you do your own advert on my show. All these explanations, that the information that I got was the $100, right? Do you guys want to speak?
Absolutely, I'm able to. So one of the things people don't know about the relationship we have with you is the fact that it is not a formal relationship. We have already started getting people into the lottery since 2023. The lottery had not opened, but people had already started registering, doing clarity calls. So this particular year, as a sequel to a session you did last year where you talked about Vesti and all of that. We're like, okay, maybe we should do another trial of telling your audience, which is why it came the way you shared it, telling your audience about what this year's Visa lottery is about. And in the information my brother gave you, he explained to you that the $100 is going to get people into the lottery, which is true, and then there's going to be other associated fees. Some of these fees includes the 7,000 I talked about, employer administration fees, which we did not think we needed to explicitly elucidate. The reason is simple. The clarity call session that we do, we didn't start Vesti on the day you advertised the program. We have a public website. We have terms and conditions there. Our assumption was that all of this, everybody was going to watch, as you had said, do your research, check out all these things. My brother, I remember telling you specifically that, the $10 is what goes to the USCIS, just in the spirit of transparency. But at the time he was talking to you, we didn't know what exactly the employers were going to be charging each applicant, especially those coming from you. As I said, many people had been charged
employers or like the recruiting agencies.
Recruiters, yes, the recruiters. So essentially, at the time, it was difficult to be able to give you like the exact, and that's why you would notice that the employer fees were not the same. The recruiter fees were not the same. They had the prerogative to be able to decide what that is going to be. For some people who are going to be really sincere, who have watched these shows or been on this show or just been professionals, know that, providing, employer profile, providing recruiting services or any of those things usually wouldn't come, for free, but at the time where the conversation happened, and that's why you came to do the rejoinder. And after you did the rejoinder, several people rather, still went on. Several thousand people landed on our page. Some made the decision to continue. Some made the decision to say, you know what, this is not for me, and eventually many people still got on into the pool. So that's the clarification on the idea of it wasn't an intentional effort to hide something from anybody. It was clear, that, hey, if you were coming into a program like this, there will be several attendant costs associated with this. And that's why we have free webinars. We do like 4 free webinars every quarter. But if you want something that is going to go beyond like, a group session that is going to be specifically focused on one visa type, you would eventually pay the consulting fees. So when you came and we had the conversation about, hey, it seems like some people are confused, then we removed the second $100, which it should have been part of it. And we removed it only specifically for your audience. And there are people who in the past had actually done both clarity session and the payment to enter the lottery before they went on to pay their recruiter fees. And as much as we really, really, really want to help people, which we're already doing, and there's a lot of, success stories to that, we still have to be able to pay the people that work for us, take care of our own bills and essentially be able to provide, critical support for hundreds of thousands of people who currently use our platform today.
So just to be completely transparent with anybody that may be watching, you guys didn't know that the recruiters were charging you. You didn't know how much they would charge, right?
Yeah, let's clear that because we discussed that before the show as well. We knew they were going to charge. The specific amount that they were going to charge was not available to us at the time when you were engaged. If it was available, you would have been told the amount. And we couldn't tell you the amount if we didn't know the amount that was going to be charged.
Okay, and for my
similar to the way many of the other fees associated with the process is, largely unknown. For instance, credential evaluation is what most people that have been selected are doing right now. Different companies charge differently. There's a company that charges $70. West charges about $300. You can't really estimate all of the, charges in the process. Also, a lot of people, when they found out they had to pay for the recruiters, they actually brought their own companies. They're like, okay, you know what? I have an uncle that runs a company in Chicago. Oh, they got the profile and they got into the pool with the same $100 that they paid initially.
So some people were able to get in just by paying $100.
A lot, hundreds.
Okay. I didn't know that the recruiters charge at all. Like I personally, I wish that you told me that the recruiters charge, and then I would have said the recruiters will charge you, but they don't know how much, so that people would know that there would be extra charges. Okay, thank you for clearing that. Before I get to you guys telling us about other opportunities, what do you guys have to say about people that are asking for a refund?
Yeah, I mean, most people that are asking for refund have gone through the right channel, which is to reach out to our team to ask for refunds. As of today, we've done refunds in excess of $10,000 to people who did not take any service from us. For example, people who paid, did not do the clarity session, did not get any employer linkages or recruiter linkages. They've sent us refund requests. Some of them who are even, who essentially did that during the course of the period got their refunds back during the course of the period. And a great deal of people, after we were done getting people into the pool, eventually have gotten their refunds, back into their cards. And those who haven't gotten it have gotten proof in their emails that they're going to get it. And there's a category of people as well who are just outrightly unreasonable, who have gone on to request for refunds after attending the session, getting linked to employers and deciding to say, oh, sorry, I can't proceed. This clarity session has been established long before we even started this, advertisement or anything. If you attended and you were part of it, the finance team will reach out back to you that, you are not eligible for a refund, and they will give you what your options are. This is a corporation. It's not a one-man business. There are tons of people who are working, on the, and as much as I would love to say, okay, everybody qualifies for a refund, not everybody does. But as I said, hundreds of people have been refunded already. Some even had duplicate payments and said, I can't believe that, I was charged 4 times. Again, this is sometimes ignorance of the system because, if you get charged 4 times, it's not us who charge you 4 times. It's probably the network, or when you paid, you tapped it multiple times. All of those people have been refunded as well. And if there's anyone listening to me today who actually still feels that they're eligible for a refund, our emails are open. The lottery is, already done right now. Our emails are open. You can write an email with the proof that you're eligible for a refund, and you'll be provided a refund. We're not some sham company out there that is not. If I pay for Amazon Web Services, or I pay for Amazon Prime, and I'm not satisfied with it, I'll reach out to them. I won't go online and start calling them out. I would seriously just reach out and get my money back. So they shouldn't be holding your neck. You are an influencer, you are a journalist, you're a person of integrity who is, trying to get information out there. But yes, it's you they know, so it's understandable that they will come and say, hey, this is what it is, but they shouldn't have to put you through all of that. So let's say, for example, you paid with your sister's card and you didn't send the details, and our team kept emailing asking you for the details. We will deal with you only after we are done with the lottery because you didn't follow the process. And if we spend time on you, we're going to lose out on the people we are supposed to help. And at the end of the day, all that we owe is that we refund you. There are people who wrote 9 emails instead of following one email thread, and they said all 9 was not responded to, and that was their anger, even though there was a thread where somebody was consciously responding to them. So it's a challenge of third world dealing with developing economies where we also come from, and we are not, lacking understanding of. And we know that there is a lot more work that needs to be done, even on our own side, as we expand our capacity and use technology to help thousands more people, not just Nigerians. There were Cameroonians, there were people from Angola, there were people from all parts of the world, in the process this year. So part of our commitment is to make sure that we get more people into the pool and into the United States to work. And we appreciate all those who were patient with us, understanding of the challenges we're facing, and of course, those who were really bitter as well. We understand with you, and we're doing everything within our power to make sure that, number one, we don't have that kind of issue in the coming year as we work with you and many others who didn't make the lottery this year, and more importantly, be able to support those of you who genuinely have a reason to request for a refund and provide you that refund. I met a gentleman in Las Vegas last week at the car park. So I said, I'm from Vesti. He said, oh, wow, I've been looking for you guys. I'm one of the people that came from Adeola. You guys didn't do well at all. I've been emailing you for weeks. I greeted him very well. We exchanged contact. I said, I would get to the root of this matter. But I told my friend that was with me, I said, I am 100% sure this person did not email us. By the time he forwarded his email to me, he had emailed support@wevesti.com. This is an email that we don't use it. It doesn't exist. So these are real challenges. So the email that is displayed on the screen is the designated email, info@wevesti.com, not info@vesti.com, not info@wevest.com. Listen, why would our goal would just be to stay at $100 when eventually what we are building is a fintech for 1 billion immigrants. We want you to get to the US and buy houses through us. We want you to get to the US and use our cards to pay for your bills, to pay for your rent, to pay for your auto finance. We're here for the long haul.
How many people did you put in for the lottery? How many of them were selected?
Altogether this year, we're really excited that we were able to get about 1,100 people into the pool. And to our maximum surprise, the number of people that were selected was well over 200. And this is just phenomenal because that's nearing 20%. So we didn't imagine that, that number of people would even be selected. Usually when companies go into the pool, they would expect 5 to 8%, people getting in. But part of it was that we were entering people on a rolling basis. We didn't wait till the end to enter people, and I think maybe that was an advantage in some way. But that's like really amazing to have. That number should be 2,000 in the coming year or 20,000, God willing, and with the help of every single person, yourself, and all the amazing people that are watching us as well.
Yeah, it is notable to add that this is over a span of like 12 to 13 different companies sponsoring all of these people to the United States.
That's correct.
Wow. So about 200 people, you said. Did you say over 200 people?
Over 200 people. That's correct.
That's wonderful. So if any one of them is watching, what's the next step?
Next steps have well been communicated with the ones that were chosen, but I will repeat it again, is to move on to the petition filing stage. This is where you submit your, documents, your credentials. You have to do an evaluation, all of those certificates and all of those, your bachelors that you have, you have to submit it now at this point. Also, there is a part where you submit employer documents, certificate of good standing, all of those documents that show that the business bringing you to the United States is a viable one. And then after that, you have to attend a consular interview in your home country or any country where you have legal residence right now.
So for those that were selected, like when are we looking at their arrival for them to arrive in the US?
The start date for the H1-B for this fiscal year is October 1st. So people are expected to start, doing all of the process between now and October 1. Sometimes some people don't finish before October. They can still come well after October. But the start date for everybody that gets their visa before that October 1st is October 1 of 2024.
So
Yeah.
realistically, some people may be here by September or by the ending of September to get ready and for them to get interview dates at the embassy. This is work visa. They don't have to wait for like a year to get interview dates and so on, right?
No, these are visas that people literally do not touch in Nigeria. So there are multiple dates available within like weeks or a month maximum. You can be there, defending your approval that you're the actual person that got the approval and you want to be on your way to the United States.
And they're able to come with their family members with kids under 21.
Absolutely. So qualifying dependents, that's spouse and children under the age of 21, can accompany a U.S. worker to the United States.
And their spouse will be able to work, right?
When they come to the United States, the spouse is eligible to apply for a work permit. There are people that are not eligible to apply for. So no, straight up landing off the plane, they can't work, but they're eligible to put in a work authorization application, which typically gets approved in like a 3 to 5 month period, and then they can now work for any other company. But yes, they are eligible to apply.
Besides the H1B, for those that missed that opportunity to work in the US, what are other opportunities that people can tap into?
There is a plethora of ways that you can come to the US, and I would focus on the ones that Vesti actually covers. If you are someone who works with a company that is a subsidiary of another company in the US, meaning that the company in the US has some form of ownership in the company in Nigeria, you can come to the US through a visa type called the intra-company transfer or the L1 visa. This is also a visa that covers, your spouse and qualifying or eligible dependents. But one of the most interesting ones is the extraordinary ability visa, which is the O1 EB1 route. The O1 visa is the 3-year work permit equivalent of the EB1 alien with extraordinary ability visa. So if you know anyone who has some outstanding results, outstanding achievements, evidence of success in their work, business, covering fields like arts, entertainment, sports, athletics. They can actually come to the US on the basis of being an alien with extraordinary ability. Vesti provides a clarity session as well as petition support for that kind of person. People like this who are doing the O1 would typically either work for a company or incorporate their own company to be able to do this. The EB1, however, is the green card equivalent of the alien with extraordinary ability visa, and it leads you straight to a 10-year green card. Hundreds of people also have passed through our program to be able to do this. The typical B1, B2, which is the business and tourism visa, is also part of the visas we support through our concierge program. What has made many people not to get it up till now before they met Vesti is that they don't know like some of the requirements that are important for it. So we have a concierge service that helps people through the service as well. The other one that is quite interesting that I think many people here watching will qualify for is the EB2 NIW, the National Interest Waiver. Considerably, Nigeria is one of the countries in the world where people who are educated, so I'm not saying we are the ones with the highest literacy rate, but people who are educated are more likely to do an advanced degree. So the EB2 NIW is for people with advanced degree who basically have a master's or a PhD or a bachelor's degree that has more than 5 years experience in certain fields that have been listed. We'll supply those fields, so perhaps it can be put under a description of this video. About 20 fields, and many people in Nigeria or who studied in the UK who are Nigerians who have a master's degree actually qualify to come to America under this national interest waiver. This national interest waiver is saying we're going to waive labor certification because we think you are going to contribute to national interest and the growth of the United States. So, and that gives you a 10-year green card as well, covering up to 4,000 of those green cards can be given to Nigerians every year, because there's a cap, there's a country cap essentially for this particular process. So to learn more about that, you definitely can talk to our team as well. There is also the student visa, which is the study route. The US essentially has thousands of universities, many of them with funding, many of them with scholarships, graduate assistantships, and of course, there are loans to support your education as well. Education could by far be one of the finest ways to actually move to the US. But what you hear people say is, I don't really want to, get a master's degree and all of that, because the US really wants more people who become educated and get absorbed into the system to contribute to the system, pay taxes, contribute to the GDP of the country, which is already over $20 trillion, and so education is a very important pathway. But many people would apply this year, wait till next year again, and just keep applying because there's no guidance on how to go through that part. So our platform allows you to be able to get that guidance that assures you. First, you would apply to 4 to 5 schools, with our team, and that would make sure that at least, even if 2 schools don't give you admission, 3 would, and those 3, you can begin to then look at what options are available for you in terms of loans or scholarships and all of that that could essentially help you in the course of the process. So these are some of them. I've talked about the O1, the EB1. I've talked about the EB2 NIW for people with advanced degrees. I've talked about the B1, B2, which is the business visa for people who just want to, come for business and tourism, and you can do interviews, job interviews, and all of that. That has, been announced recently. And of course, the F1 student visa route. For other countries, because we're talking about the US, for other countries like the UK and Canada, we support startup visa for the UK, the UK special talent visa, which is basically UK Tech Nation. Is also some of the visas that we support as well.
And anyone interested in any of this has to use the same email info.
Yeah, so preferably, if you reach out to info, we'll still respond. But preferably, they should reach out to talentvisa@wevesti.com, which is an email that has now become popular because of this previous H1-B cycle. So talentvisa@wevesti.com will be the email for us to get started with you on any of those routes I've talked about, and our team will be there to make sure that it gets to you. Now, because we know that this show is watched by thousands of people, please allow 24 to 48 hours for response. Before you write another email, in case you're wondering, oh, they haven't answered me. Our goal will be to get to it because we don't know how far this video is going to go.
Thank you. Bala, you want to say anything else?
Well, I just want to thank everybody that believes in Vesti and also congratulate the ones that have been selected. Well, it's a marathon. Now you have to move on to the next stage, and also people with qualifying refund requests can still reach out, and we will definitely look into it. Well, Vesti is here for the long run. We help people not only with migration pathways, but also we have a financial services arm of our business. So thank you again, Adiola. And we're so sorry for everything you might have gone through with the communication gaps and all of that. And we really hope that we will get more positive feedbacks from the ones that have been selected. We've gotten a lot of good reviews, that we are, putting on our social media, Instagram, everywhere, just for people to know that this is real. A lot of people have gotten help, and we're here for the long run.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully, there will be another opportunity to bring you live, because as much as I have all these questions, I know that other people also have questions for you guys. But I wanted to make sure that we covered the basics first. Also, would we at some point maybe get pictures, if they would agree, of people as they are coming, so that people know, wow, for real, these are the people that came through Vesti and so on. Are there any of the people that were selected that have agreed to maybe show their faces, or maybe even with their faces blurred, for just for people to see? Because once people know that it is legit, it goes a long way. Yeah.
First, I would say that if you check this comment section right now, from how we're looking at it, if any of the guys in this comment section got selected today, they would not agree to come and do a video. Many of them messaged us and said, you know what, wait, let me get to America first. So what we have decided to do,
That's reasonable.
those who came last year through the process, there is a family that is closer to us. There's another person who also have decided that they could do videos, and those videos will be could be provided, and we will work on that. The people who are currently selected this year, they want the process to finish first. Let them
It's
arrive in
reasonable. That's
America
why I said
before
when
they
they
then
come.
decide.
You don't want village people to interfere
Yes,
in the matter.
exactly. So
So
many of
when they arrive,
many one of them have given us written reviews. Many
okay.
of them. We designed many of them. We even decided that we could anonymize the name. But you see, the thing with people who are skeptical sometimes is that no matter how much proof you bring, it's just, not enough. So what we've decided to do is to focus on them, make sure that we get success with these guys, let them arrive here, and then eventually there will be many, many more opportunities for people to. And we also know this is peculiar to where we are right now. By the time we have 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, or by the time you even find out that top companies that and recognize use us to help to facilitate people to come into their companies, it would become a lot easier. As Abimbola has said, we want to thank everybody who believes in us, everyone who has listened to Adeola and decided to follow through. Congrats to those who were selected. For those who were not selected, nearly 800 of you, there are pathways to still follow before next year. One of the dangers of this whole process that makes people wait for 5 years is that they wait for another cycle instead of looking for the alternative routes, education, this, that, whether with Vesti or even other companies. This is really important. So we ask all those people, number one, try the lottery again next year. You could be lucky. And secondly, of course, try all the other pathways that are available. And for putting you through all of this, like in terms of, sometimes it's really about the nature of the company. It's not so much about, I think every reasonable person can see through our genuine intentions, but it's usually about the field that we're working in and the field that you have decided to support us in as well. It's a very unique field, a field where people are extremely passionate because of the situations that they've been in and what they want to do. And our goal is to be able to do this for the long haul and get more success stories that would impact the entire narrative.
And I'm just going to say in closing that when I spoke with you guys after you explained to me that the reason you couldn't come on the show before now was that the lottery was extended. I wasn't aware that the lottery was still going on. I thought it was over when the date that we had announced. I didn't know that the US government extended it. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for making the time and for coming on the show, for clarifying things. And once again, congratulations to those that have won. I'm really excited that they will be in the country within the same year, that, a lot of them will start coming in by September, by October, and so on and so forth. So huge congratulations to them. Guys, I will talk to you after this interview. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the interview. I will put their information in the description as well. Once again, thanks for your patience. All right, guys. Bye.